Mono Black Burn's a deck that's been around for a little while, kind of one that I've been wanting to try out for a little while and just haven't gotten around to it. But I also, it's not the best deck ever, for sure. But obviously I just like trying new things. But we get to try a new card that I think could be kind of interesting in here. And so I've taken a bit of a different approach with Blackburn than sometimes people do. But basically, we're trying out the new card, Craven Inspector, which you could actually read if it's a little bigger. It's a 1/1 with Menace for 1, and when it dies, you take a damage, which is kind of silly, but you create a clue token. So I figured, what deck wants a cheap, evasive threat, and then also turns into more card draw later? I don't know, maybe Blackburn could use this. My thought process being, it has Menace, it attacks for 3, if you're lucky, 3 or 4 damage before your opponent can get enough blockers, especially through some removal or whatever. And then it can turn into a clue later. I don't know what to think about this Inspector. Yeah, I'm not really sure. It definitely could just be a bad card. It looks interesting enough that I want to give it a try. And this is the main place that I thought maybe it could shine. But I wanted to then have a good amount of ways to sacrifice it. So we have Village Rites and Corrupted Conviction here to make sure that you can actually, turn it into a clue without having to just attack your opponent and have it die for no good reason. Which means we want a slightly heavier creature base than a lot of Blackburn decks. So of course we're playing Serrated Scorpion, we're playing Okiba Reckoner Raid, which you cannot read like that, but you know the one. Each opponent loses a life and you gain a life for 2 different turns as a saga, and then it flips into a 2/2 Menace on the backside. And so that one seems pretty decent. Night Marker Lookout. Whenever it becomes tapped, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain a life. So if you attack, this is just hits for 2 after turn 1, which is really nice. And then you can also attack with it, and if your opponent blocks it, you do a chump attack. You can also stack it to your Village Rites. And then also Fear of Lost Teeth, which deals the damage to any target and you gain a life. So more burn. But of course, we're also playing some direct damage spells. Bump in the Night, Sovereign's Bite, and Tyrant's Choice, which is basically just 2 mana, they lose 4 life. And then also Hopeless Nightmare, which when this enters, each opponent discards a card and loses 2 life. I just realized that a card that usually these decks run that I always think is really good is Soul Reap. So I actually should probably find a couple slots to put these in. Don't know what to think about this. Its closest comparison I found was Dusk Legion Zealot. Yeah, that's pretty close. It's cheaper, which obviously is good, but it doesn't give you the card right away. It does lose you the life still, but it also has Menace. Looks like I'm going to have to go pick up a couple Soul Reap, because that's actually a card I definitely want in there. So let's do that real quick. But yeah, I'm not really sure what to think. It's no Craven Inspector or Novice Inspector for sure. The extra toughness is enormous. The fact that you get the clue right away is really big. So it's definitely not going to be as good as those. The fact that it needs to die might be a problem. Exactly. So that's why I wanted a deck where it was expendable, and also we have a few ways to actually sacrifice. Like, people were theorizing it being played in like actual black sack. I don't think it's good enough, because you'd rather just have 2 you'd rather have 2 bodies instead of that. So I don't think you really want it there. You also just don't have 2 mana lying around to crack just to draw a card most of the time in black sack. So I don't think it works there very well. So I'm not really sure, but we're gonna try it out here. So yeah, Soul Reap is a sweet card for this type of deck. Let's pull it up. Destroy target non-green creature. It's one of those weird old cards that cares about, not even non-black. Non-green creature. Its controller loses 3 life if you cast another black spell this turn. So it's a removal spell in a deck that mostly doesn't want removal spells, direct removal spells, but it also burns them for 3 if you've cast another black spell, which is just not that hard to do. So I think maybe 3 of these in the deck's what we want. So let's cut like a Fear of Lost Teeth, maybe 2 Fears of Lost Teeth. I think that was probably our weakest card here, and then like a Sovereign's Bite, and then we'll try this. But yeah, so that is the burn deck. We also have, of course, some Jagged Barons and 2 Rakdos Carnariums. So the original Black Burn list plays a little bit like a cross between Madness and I guess just a normal burn deck, where it played Alms of the Vein and Vampire's Kiss as ways to make your, burn your opponent out. And the Vampire's Kiss made it so that the Rakdos Carnariums were pretty good. We don't actually have a way to convert those into lands now, or into new cards. So it's possible the Carnariums are just unnecessary. It's also possible that we can play a fewer lands. I kind of feel like 17 lands with such a low curve would be fine here. Sure, let's bring back one of those Fear of Lost Teeth. I think that's probably fine. And then our sideboard, we have some Duress, Trespasser's Curse, Geth's Verdict, Suffocating Fumes, Snuff Out, and Spell Bombs. I'm not exactly sure what to do with the sideboard here, but I feel like this is a decent range of cards that could be could be okay. And of course the red splash is not completely unnecessary. Bump in the Night flashes back for 6 mana. Not something you're usually going to be getting to, but if you do flood out a little bit, it can be relevant. So, yeah. How about a few Dash Hopes for some spice? I love spice. I do think Dash Hopes is very funny, but the problem is Dash Hopes is a terrible card. I don't know if I have one here. Dash Hopes is just not good because it's basically a modal card where your opponent gets to choose the mode. And obviously if the modes are strong enough, maybe it could be worthwhile, but I just don't generally find that to be the case. This is counter a spell, but when you cast the spell, any opponent may pay 5 life. If a player does, counter Dash Hopes. So the problem is that you want this to be a counter spell early, and you want it to be a burn spell late, but it plays out the opposite. They're going to just take the burn early if they really want the card. And then when they're below 5 life, they just, it's a full counter spell at that point, but then you just prefer a burn spell at that point, right? So like, I'm all for spice, but Dash Hopes is just an objectively bad card, I think, unfortunately. So I don't think we're going to do that one. But yeah, I think we're going to run this and just see how we do. That first league took a little longer than I was anticipating, not to, especially because the Azorius match went long, and then the Heroic match just took an extra 10 minutes. But ideally this will be a little fast, so maybe it'll make up for it. All right. We have 2 lands. That's probably perfect. We have our Inspector. I probably want to start with Lookout turn 1, but yeah, this hand looks great. We are on the draw, but they mulligan is 6. So yeah, you want to figure out what cards do more damage, like the earlier you get them out. So like Okiba Reckoner Raid is interesting. The earlier you get it out, obviously the earlier it flips, and then it's a 2-power creature, so that could be a good one to get out early. So I could do that first. I think it's probably that or the Night Market Lookout, because like Serrated Scorpion, whether it dies on turn 4 or turn 7, is only going to deal 2 damage. But if these have been out for longer, they're going to have dealt more damage. They start with something black. Another Okiba Reckoner Raid. Yeah, I think, especially since we have 2 now, and the Menace can be pretty relevant. That's the other thing. These guys have Menace on the back end. Callous Inspector has Menace. So we can also just make it so that even if they have like 3 creatures, it's hard for them to block more than 1 creature of ours, which could be kind of cool. Looks like it could be Rakdos, Madness, Jund maybe, with just a weird draw. Okay, Jagged Barons. We're definitely going to prefer to play 2 spells than the Baron, so that'll be next turn. We ping them for 1 here, and Night Market Lookout, I definitely want to get online. And yeah, I think it's the other Akiba Reckoner Raid. And then next turn would probably be the Inspector and stuff. Inspector, obviously, like I said, looks cool in this deck. That doesn't mean that it's the first card I need to play here. Since it's only going to hit for 1, and it just converts into more new cards later, I think I'd like to get the guys that hit for multiple down first. This is a pretty fast, aggressive start, though. If we are against Jund, which is what I assume, then, they have some life gain in their main deck, but it might be hard for them to put up with all of this aggression so quickly. And there's the bridge. And refurb, okay. I guess I'd probably just get rid of the land. Yeah, I think that's fine. Obviously the damage is nice, but another Inspector. So I'll swing with the Lookout. If they want to block, that's fine. If not, even better. And then, yeah, I think I'm probably going to do 2 Inspectors next turn, or this turn, so that I can get a bunch of Menace guys down. They don't block. Now, we are pretty susceptible to a Kark Clan Shaman. That is true. Can't do much about it. I mean, the Callous Inspectors at least will give us clues, but I don't think we can afford to just not cast our spells because of it. I could play like a Hopeless Nightmare to hedge, but I think we need to just be as aggressive as possible. So let's do this and hope for the best, which would be no Kark Clan Shaman. There's a Gixian. All right, there it is. Pretty annoying. They're going to attack since they're going to wipe the board. They can wait until our Akiba flips, which they do. We'll swing. If they let us attack, we'll get an extra ping in with a Lookout, so I assume they'll stop us here. Yep, sack. I assume they'll do 2. Otherwise, they're going to leave behind the road captains. Yeah. Well, we get our clues. And yeah, we'll play out our creatures. Creatures obviously are generally better to play early because they attack and can deal damage, whereas the Hopeless Nightmare is going to be kind of like I was saying with the Scorpion. The Scorpion can at least attack every single turn, could be more damage every turn, whereas the Nightmare is just 2 damage regardless. They play a Wellspring. Of course, if they play a Refurb or something, maybe I would have wanted to get rid of a lower impact card. They just pass. Sovereign's Bite. Okay, I'll attack with the Inspector. It's got Menace, so it can get through. And I kind of want to just crack a clue. I could Sovereign's Bite, but we're so far from actually killing them that I think I'd rather do this in case we get a land, which could help us speed up our clock. Okay, Bump of the Night's not bad. Now we have 8 points of damage in hand, 2 on the board here. They do play some life gain, probably 1 or 2 Lembus, 1 or 2 Toxin Analysis. Maybe not, actually. A lot of Jund doesn't play Toxin anymore, which I think is foolish. I think it works great with Gixian Infiltrator, but probably a Pulse of Marasa, though. So yeah, it's definitely some life gain to be worried about. There's a Refurb. I think we just discard the Sovereign's Bite. The life gain is pretty irrelevant, and I'd rather just have the cheaper spell of Bump in the Night, I think. I'll take 5 here. Corrupted Conviction, okay. So we're gonna swing, and I might Conviction to draw, try to hit a land drop. They block, I'm fine with that trade, I think. They take an extra 2. It is our only creature. We have 5 damage in hand. So I only need to find a little more. Yeah, I'm going to go for it. All right, Swamp, Hopeless Nightmare, and then I can play the Lookout, discard an Eviscerator's Insight. But luckily they only have 4 mana, so they can't flash it back. I mean, if they don't find any life gain, they're at 8, and we have a Bump in the Night, so... And a Nightmarker Lookout, so that could be putting them to 4. If we can top deck a Tyrant's Choice, that would be lethal, barring any life gain. There's another Wellspring and a Munitions, sure, so that's going to kill the Lookout. It's also going to make Gigseed Infiltrator lethal next turn, so I guess we're in kind of a bad spot. I mean, Soul Reap would have been a great card because we could kill this and hit him for down to 6, and now we're dead because I can get like a blocker, but then they just sack something to kill it, so they hit us for 7 and then Munitions or whatever in any order. We can deal them 4 more. Yeah, kind of close. Didn't quite get there. Trespasser's Curse is interesting. They don't have the most creatures, but that makes a single Chrysalis deal them 3, which is kind of cool. Snuff Out is probably not very good. Geth's Verdict, same. Maybe Duress. Soul Reap would have been good to kill a creature and drain for 3. Yeah, I think because of the Krark Clan Shamans, we're going to take out a couple creatures for these, just because the creature strategy is a little worse. But yeah, Curse is the only one that feels very good. Snuff Out can not kill that many things that are super relevant, so. Alright, game 2 here. See, this is the type of hand I don't really want. No creatures, so we don't have any recurring damage. We have 13 points in hand, which is honestly pretty good. We don't have any sustainable damage, so how am I going to be able to get the last 7 over the finish line? Just one creature. Like, this is a lot of damage. And they're going to have Weather the Storms from the sideboard. Otherwise, I could maybe keep it, but I just don't think. I just wish, like, the Swamp and the Sovereign's Bite were creatures, and then it'd be, like, an incredible hand. But I think we got to mulligan that. 1 lander. We're back to keeping 1 landers, I think. We have a lot of card draw. Definitely too much. Let's get rid of one of them. But we can do the old black sack trick of play a 1-drop, sack it on turn 2, and just hope to hit one of our 16 other lands. If we don't, things will definitely be rough. I only have 6 of these draw spells in the deck. We've already seen 4 of them in 8 cards. Alright, really hope to hit a land here. We do, and a Reckoner Raid. Okay, that's not bad. Hey, Cleansing Wildfire, huh? Trigger this. Sovereign's Bite. So nothing to Village Rites until next turn. I want to be mana efficient. I also want to save like a 1-drop to cast with the Soul Reap. So I could just Sovereign's Bite. That just doesn't do much. So I think I'm just going to crack the clue on the off chance we draw a land. It would be better to draw now, but also I'm not obviously going to be able to Soul Reap with the Nightmare unless I find another swamp. So there's Chris. And then into a Wellspring, it looks like. There it is. All right, there's the Swamp. Yeah, they were also nice enough to just sack the spawn. So yeah, I think we just Soul Reap this turn. Hopeless Nightmare and then Soul Reap. The only downside is I don't get to hold up Village Rites for this guy in case they try to kill it, but I think that's fine. I guess also I could hold it for next turn. Like, I could do another Nightmare Soul Reap next turn, which would make it easier to attack in if they just play, like, another Chrysalis and then sack for another Wellspring or something. Because as is, I'm not attacking this turn, but I already have Menace. Yeah, actually, let's just bite him. Put him to 12. They discard a Heritage Reclamation. Not sure why they brought that in. I guess it kills the Road Captain. That's probably why. They attack. Okay, that means they probably don't have a blocker, so this is going to get in anyway, I assume. Or they just have, like, a cast down. Same thing about. Attack first so that if they cast this down, I can just Village Rites it. If not, we get in for 2. Nice. And then I Hopeless Nightmare, and then I kill the Chris. They could have a Weather the Storm, which would be pretty unfortunate, but I don't think we're going to waste this 2 mana. Its controller loses 3 life. If they also had a way to sacrifice that, actually, they wouldn't lose the 3 life, so maybe they should have done that. But I guess if they have a way to sack, there's a cast down, and then they have the Weather. Yeah. They're down to 1 card in hand, but that's pretty annoying, especially because we have these Village Rites that, I figured if they wouldn't cast down, I guess I'll get rid of this. I thought they would have cast down before, especially if they wanted to weather, but I guess if we didn't end up casting a bunch of spells, they wouldn't have weathered. I don't know. They play their last card too, so Nightmare's not doing anything at the moment. They're at 17. They don't have a lot going on, but Neither do we. Do I just sack this right now? Yeah, I can get another 1-drop that's relevant. I'm not going to play this Nightmare until they have a card in hand. Jagged Barrens, Wildfire, and another land for them. Swamp. Let's crack a Clue. Soul Reap. I'm just going to pass. I could Tyrant's Choice, but I'd rather use the 3 to scry here, so it's more mana efficient. And then I can also Tyrant's Choice and Soul Reap next turn to kill this if I want to, and still get the extra 3 from the Reaping. Okay. They keep a card in hand, which also means I can Hopeless Nightmare it away, and if it's like a draw 2, they'll at least have to use it first. Sack this to scry 2. We do not need lands. Callous Inspector is decent. Tyrant's Choice, let's see, we have 9 points of burn. This is 13. Yeah, I think we keep these. 13 plus a creature seems good. Start with the Nightmare in case they have like a cast down or something. I don't want to play the Inspector first. I assume it'll be a draw 2. Yeah, discard a Krark. All right, I think we're gonna hold this up again. I don't really need to kill the Refurb, and I'd rather just scry 2 again here, using our mana efficiently, and I'd rather kill something like that with the Soul Map onto the Refurb, or something like that maybe. Chris on top. Oh, they just have one. Lucky them. Swing for 3. I guess a good 1-drop would be nice, so we could cast everything this turn. Another Tyrant's Choice. Bump of the Night. So this is 4, 7, 10, 14 damage. They have a Chris on top. We don't know their last 1 card, but if it's not like a Weather or something, this is pretty good. So yes, we'll keep that. And if it is a Weather, then that's pretty bad. We're going to do our best to space out some of these, but I have to cast 2 spells with the Reap specifically. So let's bump. This grows less than this. So yeah, let's just kill the Infiltrator. They take 3. We have another Tyrant's Choice on top. I don't know. I think we just cast the Tyrant's Choice. If they have the Weather the Storm, I think we're losing to it anyway. Let's read this again. Starting with you, each player votes for Death or Torture. If Death gets more votes, each opponent sacrifices a creature. If Torture gets more or tied. So Torture is what we want to do. They lose 4. And even if they vote for the other one, they still take, doesn't matter. I could attack. This trades for a spawn. That's not super great. No Weather the Storm. That's good. It could still be a Pulse Marasa, but it's got to be something to gain life. Could be a Toxin. It's a Krark. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. I was worried they could kill us here, but they can wipe this away, which they're going to do, and hit for 9. But then we have the deal 4 off the top. Oh, also we lost 1 because of the Inspector, so we actually went to 2. But we have Tyrant's Choice. We're going to vote for the correct option of Torture, and that'll get us the game. Close one. Yeah, I guess Duress we could bring in for Weather the Storm. Is that really worth it to preempt it? Probably not. Sovereign's Bite feels so lackluster sometimes. I think we will bring in Duress, actually, instead of that. Also, cheaper is always nice. All right, we have no lands. 1 land, triple Reckoner Raid, Bump of the Night. So this is 6, 12 damage that we can't deploy very fast. We are on the draw. You can keep anything on the draw. I guess we're probably putting back a Bump of the Night. Plus we have a Trespasser's Curse. Sure. We'll give it a try. Here's your 1 lander. Again, perfect. I mean, this still isn't the most incredible hand ever, but it could be pretty good. I'm going to hope that they don't Wildfire here. Okay, just always, obviously. But if they Wildfire, I feel like I'd have to play Trespasser's Curse to be able to make sure that if they play a Chrysalis, I can get all of the full damage off of it. But I'd really like to play double Reckoner Raid. And if they get a Krark to wipe our board, you know, that's pretty good for them. But if they don't, then this is a lot pretty quickly. And then I'm going to play Trespasser's Curse next turn so that every creature they play pings them for 1. Oh, sacrificing the Lembas is great too. I assume they're desperate for a land, but that's 3 life that they're not going to get now. And no land? Oh my gosh. We're in the money. Swamp's not bad. So Trespasser's Curse them. Might as well bump them in the night while they don't have Weather the Storm up. They're at 11. We start attacking for 2. Every creature they play pings them. They did bring in Heritage Reclamation. Maybe they thought Trespasser's Curse could have been a card, so maybe they have an answer to it, but that also just takes a lot of mana for them to do while they're taking a lot of damage here. There's the Wildfire. A little late. So we get to hit for 2. We get to Tyrant's Choice them down to 5. Oh, wait. They could have something. Scorpion. Swing for 2. Tyrant's Choice. Torture, and then I think we just Scorpion. Well, if they get a Krark, it's going to kill it, which pings them for 2, which isn't bad. Plus, if they play a Krark, they lose 2 here. But I guess I'd rather have the creature. No, I'd kind of like to, I'd prefer to have this, because if they just get like, I don't know, I'd rather get the 2 damage in, I think. They do have a Vault. They could also just have, you know, a couple spells into Weather the Storm to survive here, but then they're still looking down 7 damage from our creatures, which is a lot. What do they got? Nothing? They could have a Breath Weapon. If they have a Breath Weapon, they're going to go to 2, or 3 rather, off the Scorpion. I could bump in the night, but then they could have the Weather the Storm, so I don't think I'm going to do that. Cast down. They just have a couple cast downs, or cast down into Weather maybe. There it is. Okay, so they're going to go to 6 here. So I'm going to bump in the night because they no longer have another Weather. Down to 3. So now if they play like a Krark and wipe the Scorpion, that's going to be lethal. Playing a Chrysalis just kills them. We're pretty far away from flashing back a bump in the night, but obviously if we get that far and somehow they're surviving, we can get 6 more damage from these bumps in the grave. Ichor Wellspring. Feels like they might not have anything. All right. Got there against John. That first game made me feel like we were just never going to be able to beat them, but we ended up getting there pretty nicely. You can now pick up my comprehensive guide to Esper Cryo Affinity, including 38 sideboard matchups, and I just put out a big update for my Black Sack guide, including a slightly different deck list. I began offering coaching sessions if you're interested in taking your Pauper game to the next level, and I'm accepting deck donations, so if you desperately want me to play a deck that I usually wouldn't play, something like Elves, then you can make me do that for a small fee. I've started posting a League video every single day, not to mention streaming at least a couple times a week on Twitch, but I'm not going to be able to keep that up forever unless I can get a little bit more help from the community. Any of the ways I've just mentioned are great ways to help me out, or you can even subscribe and support me on a monthly basis. All right, we are on the draw, but a pretty reasonable hand here. A couple 1-drops and some burn spells. Looks like we're against green-white gates, probably Naya, doing like Chrysalis stuff. Yeah, I think we've determined Reckoner Raid might be the best start. The 2 damage is going to get through no matter what, so actually I feel like Night Market Lookout might actually be a little better. Like this getting online with the Menace is nice. Technically it could deal more damage, but if they just have blockers by then, it's not going to. Well, if they just play a 1-2, Night Market Lookout is going to look worse here, unfortunately. Gates. Anaya Gates list 5-0 a few days ago, and it looks very strong. Yeah, I played against Anaya Gates deck a couple weeks ago, and it was interesting. I was playing Black Sack, and I think it was pretty favored matchup for me because like their Chrysalis feeds into my Beetle and stuff like that. But yeah, it looks kind of cool. So I can't attack here, which is kind of annoying. But we're just going to get down our Enchantment and our Inspector. If I draw another land here and they don't have another creature, then I can maybe bump and Soul Reap the Inspector and hit for a bunch. That could be good. Not that I really want to be Soul Reaping an Inspector, but it could be worth it to get in for some decent damage. Currently, we have 13 points of damage in hand. So deploying this all before they gain life with these cats is going to be pretty important, and there's a gate right away. If we can get a Village Rites, then I could do the old chump and sack before they gain life off the cat, but if not, I might just have to Soul Reap that, but then they just bring it back. I really need a swamp so that I can bump in the night, Soul Reap, and not feel bad about it. Okay, we didn't get it, but we did get the Village Rites, so I will do if they go for the pump on this, I will just sacrifice. So let's just pass. We're going to block the Inspector. The Menace isn't looking particularly important, and the Clue token could be useful. They're going to pump on the cat. It makes sense to just go for it when we're clearly a burn deck. We don't have that much removal either, so we're going to try to make the most of it, but for now, keep them from gaining 5. This is definitely going to be a bad matchup for us, just because of the life link, but maybe we can keep them off it for long enough with the convictions. Well, another cat's going to make that tough. Swamp. Okay, there we go. Swamp. So I could like Hopeless Nightmare Soul Reap, but then they can just pump the other cat. So I think I got a block and conviction, which means this turn I can bump and Nightmare maybe. Or I could just Tyrant's Choice. That's probably better because it's not playing 2 1-drops, so it's harder to fit into our curve. Also, making them discard a card could be good if they have like a Prismatic Strands or something. I don't know how many of these are damage. A lot of this is loss of life, but some of them it probably is. 3rd Basilisk Gate, so next turn they're going to be able to pump both cats. Maybe like Thraben Charm first? Yeah. Well, if I Conviction this, then they get in with the cat. Now they can attack with both cats either way, but we got to block this one and hope for the best. I don't know how we deal 12 points of damage to them with this hand without them gaining any life, but ban Rally, please, thank you. Rally at the Hornburg? Red Rally? That's not what we're playing at all. That's not what they're playing either. Yeah, I can deal 9 damage, just saying. Fair enough. Yeah, we're doing all right. Playing some Black Burn with one of the new cards. Yeah, I have 9 damage here. I don't have a creature for the Village Rites. Yeah. They have 2 cats, otherwise I could just kill one and be okay. I guess I need to top deck like a 1-drop here, and they need to not have an untapped creature. Nope. So if I double bump, we're just gonna... Yeah, we just die, unfortunately. They gain too much life this turn. We can't stop their cats, so pretty brutal. What's up, gamers? Hey, Daniel, how's it going? Alright, we get Spell Bombs to prevent the cats from coming back. We get Trespasser's Curse. And we get Fumes. That's a good amount of things. Soul Reap, Fear of Lost Teeth would have been a nice draw too. That could have picked off one of their cats. Tyrant's Choice. is more damage than a Bump of the Night, obviously more mana. What else do we cut? I guess Night Market Lookout looked really bad here, just because they have so many blockers. So I think that's a fine cut. And submit. Alright, let's see what we get. One land, but we got some card draw. Yeah, we'll keep it. We're going to start with a Scorpion instead of the Reckoner Raid because I might just need to Corrupted Conviction at next turn. Or Village Rites. I keep drawing a bunch of those. Hit for 1, draw 2. We do get a Swamp. Play the Reckoner Raid. These are not looking great with not that many creatures in our hand. Outlaw Medic. Ugh, there's so many lifelinkers. Untapped land would have been nice because I could have Soul Reaped. But I guess we just... Tyrant's Choice. And if they spend their turn just doing the gate thing, maybe it's fine because we can Soul Reap it next turn. Oh, they don't even have an untapped land. That's nice. So they just hit for 1. They have a Thraben Charm, blow this up. Yep. They don't have a land at all. Oh, that's good. Well, I guess by killing this, we're giving them the possibility of drawing a land, but also I'd rather they just don't have that on the field. We're also putting them to 6 here. That's pretty good. Discard a card and Soul Reap their buddy. Prismatic Strands. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure this is loss of life. Soul Reap is loss of life, but Scorpion is damage for Prismatic Strands purposes. This is loss of life. Most things are loss of life, but we'll see. Another Medic. We need a 1-drop we can play, otherwise I can't use this Conviction. Well, I can't use one of these, so I need a 1-drop I can play so I can also Soul Reap this. Otherwise we might lose. Oh yes, very nice. So that's a creature that I can use these on. We can Soul Reap so they can't gain life. They go to 3 here. And then I got card draw to hopefully hit a Bump in the Night or whatever. Journey. Okay, that's annoying. They're just doing it so I don't have an attacker, but obviously I wanted to turn it into a real thing. Oh, cat. Come on, just give me a Bump in the Night. That doesn't deal damage, right? Ooh, Bump in the Night. Nice. Just a little bump. All right. Well, it took them stumbling on lands, but we got a game off of them. Now they're on the play. We'll see how this goes. I don't think Duress makes sense. I think Snuff Out is good. Maybe it's so important enough to kill their creatures that Snuff Out is worth it. They're lifelink creatures. Like, it doesn't deal damage, which is a real pain, but if they gain life, like, it's just kind of over. And we did cut some creatures, so maybe cutting, like, a couple of the Convictions could be decent. Yeah. Like, if they're not gaining life off their lifelinkers, then we're already okay to, like, wait, be a little slower dealing damage. If they are, it's really bad. Alright, we have Snuff Out. We actually have some reasonable mana. We have no creatures, which is obviously a bummer. Okay, I'm probably going to hold one of these Bump in the Nights for activating, like turning on the Soul Reap, but since I drew a second one, I think I can just play one. Be happy about that. No cat is nice. Reckoner Raid's a good draw. I could hold the Carnarium for like a Jagged Barons pickup, but I think we'd rather just have our mana be smooth here, I think, opposed to like not being able to play what we want to. They're going to Thraben Charm this Raid, I assume. If they wait, I might get a life gain off of it, or a life drain, but I'm fine with that. And yeah, only thing to play is Bump of the Night. I want to save that for the Soul Reap, so let's just pass. Guardian. Well, that's annoying. I can't kill that. It doesn't gain life, which is nice, but that could be a pretty fast clock. Looks like we're actually going to be able to flashback some Bump of the Nights this time. Well, if I try to kill this, now I can Village Rites it. Draw some new cards. Inspector. Lay a Cliffgate. Pump the Guardian. Armadillo Cloak. You gotta be kidding me. Protection from monocolored, and this is multicolored. Well, that's annoying. Where's my Terminate? Okay, so it does have lifelink now, basically. I probably just lose to that. I don't have a way to kill this. I didn't bring in the Getz Verdicts because I didn't think they'd be necessary. I guess I'll bring them in next time for the Naya Guardian deck. I mean, theoretically, we could like outpace them because we have a lot of damage here. Bump, Tyrant's Choice, Soul Reap, the Inspector could deal 10. You can attack for 2. I probably want to hold up the Village Rites in case they try to kill this. All right, well, Tyrant's Choice, Torture. Oh, but they can also just gate this up now. I was like, oh, if it's just 4 a turn, I can probably survive it. But gating it up, making it like 10, that's going to be... I'm not going to be able to catch up to that. Maybe they won't see the line of very obviously pumping their lifelink creature. All right, that's got to be one of our worst matchups. So we still took a game off them, and they didn't have any trouble finding their Basilisk Gate. I guess they did have the Gate Creeper in the first game, but if they didn't have a Basilisk Gate, which sometimes they have trouble finding, then I think we could have outraced that 4 damage actually, the 4 life gain. All right, it's a lot of land, so we have 3. This does not feel like enough damage. I'm gonna mulligan that. 1 lander, but we do have 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 points of damage. I have to put back 3 actually. Sure, we'll keep this one. Put back a bump. And Okiba Reckoner Raid. Get them. Well, I guess I'll play a Night Market Lookout. Force Spike. Oof. Yeah, Force Spike's pretty good against someone stuck on one land. That's the 4th bump of the night we've seen. Let's play a Scorpion. See if they're going to spike it. They do Force Spike. I miss the old time Suicide Black with 4 Foul Tongue Shriek. I can't say I'm familiar with that deck, but that sounds pretty sweet. Brainstorm. I guess if this deck had a few more creatures, Foul Tongue Shriek could definitely become a real playable one. I think we have like 20 creatures in the deck. I think that's probably a little low for the Foul Tongue Shriek, but if we had more like 25 or 30, it could be. Okay, they got a 1 mana Terror. We're still at 1 mana overall. If they don't have any more Serpents, I legitimately think we could maybe win here, but I assume they're going to play 1 or 2 more, in which case, yeah, we're going to not be able to outrace this. Sure, we'll take 5. I guess Swamp here is only 16 damage, so I could attack, get in for 1. Bump, they're down to 9. No way I can do that. So I guess I could have just Soul Reaped this Serpent. I just wouldn't have gotten the damage, but oh, that would have been better. I could have killed it and then gotten in for 3 with the Menace creatures. Then I also wouldn't be as likely to die here. They have a Demon Inferior. Sure. We're down to 1. And we might as well, but I don't think we can deal 10 damage here. Yeah. If we had done that, we'd still have 2 bumps in our hand. We would have attacked. We'd be at 13, but we'd be at 7. I still don't think it's really going our way, but I think it would have been better if we had just killed that. I wasn't thinking we couldn't cast the Soul Reap without the black spell previously cast, but I was thinking it wouldn't make sense, but actually I do think it would have been good enough. All right, well, we have Gets Verdict and Snuff Out and Spell Bomb, so maybe Duress isn't even necessary at this point. Sovereign's Bite. Creatures feel pretty good here, I think, for the most part. Fear of Lost Teeth is not super important, but I guess Chump Blockers are good. Maybe we cut like a couple Tyrants, a couple Bump. I guess just cheaper on mana is probably better, especially against Force Spike, especially against just counterspells in general. All right, let's keep a not 1-lander. I feel like this is not enough value. We do have the Village Rites on the Scorpion. Sure. Feels like it's probably too many lands to me. That like above 3 in your opening hand's probably not where you want to be at. That's pretty much the case with Black Sack. So I don't know, it feels similar. But drain for 1, play Night Market Lookout, and then I don't think I'm going to Scorpion, because I can get Force Spiked, and I'd rather not. We're a deck that can play around Force Spike very easily since our whole deck's pretty much 1-drops, so let's not walk into it. There's a Delver. Flip this guy. Soul Reap is nice. I'll happily trade these if they want to do that. Looks like they do. All right, Scorpion, and we could have a Dispel for the Village Rites, but it's not going to get Force Spiked. I think we just go for it then. Dispel would be annoying. There it is. Yeah, maybe just wait on that. Maybe not necessary to go for it there. Mental Note, 2 islands is nice. Delver again, and they miss a land drop that time. Ooh, but we don't really get it. I don't want to cast that on our captain, but then we're not doing anything this turn. Yeah, I guess that's what we're not doing anything. See if Delver flips. It does. Thought Scour, that hits 2 spells, so that's 6. Swing for 3. They don't cast anything. Holding up Counterspell. Okay, I could Gets Verdict, and if they counter that, then I can still just Soul Reap. Is this even when I care to Soul Reap? Probably not. Let's just make them use mana on their turn, probably. Serpent, sure. Terror, sure. I'm gonna Gets Verdict now, so if they want to keep these terrors, then we at least don't take 3, or they could have the Dispel, yep. Every time. Spell Bomb is fine, but then I don't get the 3 damage off the Soul Reap. Yeah, I think I just have to deal with that though, because I'm not going to just sack this for no reason. Yeah, so let's Soul Reap the Serpent. Attack for 2, blow up their graveyard, and yeah, they attack for 8. Feels like we might fall a little short here, especially if they have counter spells. Oh boy. Alright, that works. I'm going to attack for 2 then and Chump and Village Rites, and also crack a Clue, unless they just like Sleep the Dead. I mean, we're not dead here if they do, but it's not bad for them. It's pretty good. I guess they can't tap this one down with stuff from their grave. I should have maybe done this in response, because if we got a Snuff Out, I might have wanted to use it on the Aberration. Excuse me. Hope for no counterspell. Up in the Night. Crack a Clue. Ugh, swamps are gonna kill us here. So many lands. I guess we attack for 2. They're at 5. Bump and Barons puts them to 1. So I Conviction and I hope that they don't have a counterspell and I draw into something. Gosh. What is this? We run 17 lands. And here's 8 of them. Yeah, I could hard cast 1 on this and then we die. Put them to 1. That's unfortunate. Just about any spell that we could have drawn. I mean, a lot of our creatures that didn't deal damage, maybe not so much, but so many of our spells would have gotten us there. Not going to keep that one. First time we've seen Fear of Lost Teeth, we see 3 of them, and it's in a unkeepable hand. I guess we'll keep this. And I'll try to keep as much damage as I can. More Jund. Start with the Inspector. There's a Wildfire. Ping. Play a Scorpion. Swing for 1. Another Wildfire. And play a Wellspring. Village Rites. Hit for some damage. I think we just play Nightmare, Jagged Barrens. And then Village Rites. We can hold that up. They probably won't cast any removal this turn, but if they did, obviously we'd have the Village Rites. Play a Landscape, and there's a Krark. Hey, if they want to just go for it right now, then we get to Village Rites one of these guys. There's a Lembas. I mean, we're going to Village Rites the Scorpion at this point, no matter what. Yeah, but, yep, floating 2 mana. Sacrifice. Sack a bridge. Okay. And there's the Offering. I can only sack 1. They're both going to die, so it doesn't matter which one. Alright, we got some decent cards, potentially. They also had to sack their... Well, they wanted to keep the Lembas around, but because of that, they sacked their green source, so probably no Chrysalis next turn. Inspector... I'm just going to play the Fear of Lost Teeth. If they have another Krark and wipe right away, it's going to feel bad because of the Village Rites, but I think more than likely having the guy down here... well... Refurb. That could have been a reason to not do that, because the draw 2 would have been pretty good. Should have considered the Refurb. I've heard that's a pretty good card. Alright. Land and crack a clue. Brother. Swing. Deal him a damage. And we'll pass. Alright, there's Chris. I think I might sack the Nightmare in our upkeep. Try to find something. Try not to draw any more lands. Another Lembas. Or maybe the same one. There's no real way to tell. Yeah, sack this. Scry 2. Get rid of a swamp. We'll keep the Village Rites since we have an expendable creature here. I mean, I think we'll just hold it in case they... I guess maybe I should hold the swamp in case they play another Refurb. Because if I sack this and I get 2... Yeah, if I get 2, you know the ones. 2 spells, then I'd rather discard the swamp. But of course, I'd like to play out the swamp because also there's a possibility we might want to flashback a Bump in the Night. But we'll do this for now. Another Chris. Village Rites the Inspector to get a clue. In response, they're gonna cast this down. Sure. Nice. Not the cards we're looking for. Crack a clue. So many lands. I mean, they go to 8, but they still have a Lembas. I don't know. If we got a couple bumps and, the voting one, I think that would have been decent. But we did not. Alas. They swing. I think we just take it. It's not going to be lethal, and if we find another Village Rites, I'd like to have a creature. Bojuka Bog is irrelevant if we don't have any bumps in the graveyard. We're going to sack this again. We've also done so much scrying and just have not found what we need. Hopeless Nightmare. That's not good enough. Serrated Scorpion. I mean, needs us a little bit. I guess we keep the Nightmare because we can scry yet again. And it does hit them for a little bit. But they're at 6 with plus a Lembas. Which means even a Bump in the Night, which I could flashback instantly, isn't going to kill them. They sack the Lembas and go for an Offering. There's a Refurb. Eats the Swamp. Grow this. So 10, 12 damage. Still not quite lethal here. Offering the Spawn. I mean, I can't imagine what we can even draw. I guess... Oh, actually, no, we're not going to have mana for it. Well, if I scry, we're not going to have mana. Because I could technically top deck a Village Rites into double Tyrant's Scorn, which would deal them 8, plus I'm sacking the Fear of Lost Teeth, which would deal them 1 more. So, but I'm not going to have mana if I sack this Hopeless Nightmare. I think that's the only thing that could win us the game. So those are the only cards that deal 4 damage. So, yeah, I mean, that's our out. I don't expect to hit it, but I don't think Surveilling 2 or Scrying 2 would have helped. We would have seen these 2. I could have put Soul Reap on top, but I kill one of these, I block. Yeah, it's not going to do it. Alright, again we get Trespasser's Curse, and did we bring in Duress? I think so. Yeah, for Weather the Storm and stuff. Sovereign's Bite, Teeth. I think that's probably decent. Alright, we have a reasonable start here. With Reckoner Raid, no, I kind of think, I don't know. The 2 extra turns just feels like there's likelihood they can block this. I think we kind of decided having a guy down. The beginning is probably a little better. Bojuka Bog. Swing for 1. Just going to wait on the Duress until a little later. Get all our guys out. Start dealing damage this way. And the next turn probably Duress. Jagged Barrens. I'm certainly going to use this Carnarium to bounce the Jagged Barrens this time. Alright. Bridge. Got nothing else. A little flooded. Swing for 2. Duress 'em. What do you got? Toxin. I don't care about Cast Down. Fanatical. Yeah, we take the Toxin. That gains life. Play a Bridge. Play an Infiltrator as a 2-1, or they could just Cast Down. Oh, they top decked a Cleansing Wildfire. Well, that's a good one. I've heard. Good enough to name a deck after. Another Duress. I mean, we know 5 of their cards. I guess taking an Offering is probably not bad. It's not taking a Weather the Storm, but Yeah, card draw can find weather. Yeah, we'll just take the offering. Carnarium bounce the Jagged Barons. This turn they get down to Chris. Play to Swamp. There it is. Soul Reap would be a good draw. All right, they're just going to play this right away. Sure. Bump of the Night. Let's see. So I could attack with the team, and they could like block here, block here. We get in for 1, throw for 2, and then Bump of the Night. Yeah, I kind of think it's worth just attacking in. It's not really getting any better, especially when they get to hold up Cast Down next turn. The Menace definitely helping. Like Menace here and Menace here makes it so they can't block both of them. Blocking that one's beautiful. This is a crazy way to block because they're giving me a card and they're taking 2 damage. I guess they're not killing the Scorpion is what they want to do, but that's not what I would have done. But I'm okay with it. Like, just the new card could be really, really good. I figure that's one they'd want to... That Scorpion is super good. Yeah, Scorpion's not bad. I guess I didn't expect them to not want to kill it so badly, but... Oh, look, another Inspector. Yeah, that's not the best thing ever, but still not bad. Bump and Jagged Barons. I can actually flash back the Bump next turn. They're at 6. So... And they only have 2 creatures, but they have a Cast Down we know about, so they can cast down Link Breaker... Not Link Breaker, the other Nezumi guy. Road Captain, and like double block this guy if they want to leave this around. Lembas, come on. What are you doing to me? So they're at 9 with a cast down. Probably will still attack with everything. Scry to the top. That means it's good. 1 mana for a 1/2 that represents a 4 life swing. Yeah, it's not bad. It's definitely got its uses in this kind of a deck. Oh, and they have Krark too. I guess they only have 2 artifacts, but that's enough to wipe these away, which if they do right now, they can attack for 10. And then next turn they can, yeah. Well, what an unfortunate turn of events. And with the Inspector, that's gonna put me, oh wait, the Scorpion, right. I was gonna say that bumps me to 20, which would mean I'm exactly dead next turn, but I'm not quite, unless they have any way to sacrifice something. Come on, something good. Bump in the Night. I can flashback a bump that uses my whole turn. I'm at 12. This is really tough. Okay, so I could just flashback Bump of the Night, which is the most mana efficient. They go to 4, and the next turn I can draw a card, clue token, and Bump of the Night. And then I have 3 mana to cast whatever I draw, of 2 draws, which should hopefully get there. But if they find any way to pump this by 2, which is like any way to sacrifice 2 more things, then they could kill me. If I just bump now and then crack the clue, I could just win if I get a Tyrant Scorn, but the problem is, if I then get a spell the following turn on my draw step, I can't flashback Bump of the Night and use that spell, which could be devastating. And honestly, I think for that reason, I should just flashback Bump of the Night. They could find a way to gain life too, but we know they have a cast down, they have 1 other card, they have no green, so they can't play a Chrysalis or Weather the Storm currently. They need to find like a Lembas into another way to sacrifice. Yeah, I think we just flash this back and hope for next turn to draw. Like, hope they don't get anything good here. And then we just need to draw something that deals a damage. Anything at all. Okay, they got a Landscape. That puts us to 1. Hey, that does it. Also makes it so a land is Bump of the Night and Flashback. Oh, yeah, good point. I didn't even think about that. But indeed, we got there. Okay. They don't have green, so I don't think I should be worried about anything, but I might as well crack a clue. Play this. Play a bump. Boom. Yeah, definitely the makes it so a land drop is also winning is definitely something I should have thought about as well. But yeah, super good. All right. Well, that was game 2. Let's see if we can take down game 3 as well here. Flashing back Bump of the Night. And there's nothing like it. What a good card. Yeah, seems alright. 2 Reckoner Raids, which probably just died to Krark, but then we have Nightmare, Duress, Trespasser's Curse can be pretty good, I think. They also mulligan. Okay, I wouldn't mind another Swamp here, but I think we definitely, want to get our 1 drops down first. Might as well get them rolling rather than like playing the Jagged Barons here. Wildfire's pretty good. So if I get a Swamp, I kind of want a Trespasser's Curse in case they play a Chrysalis here. Well, I didn't get the Swamp, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, let's play another Reckoner Raid. Ooh, let's play our land, please. Then pass. Tap land, so no Chrysalis. There's an Infiltrator. Sack the Landscape. Another Reckoner Raid. I think Trespasser's Curse just does so much work. I need to get it down early. So, yeah, I don't even have anything else that's that important. Like, I could Duress here, but like if they play Chris, 3 damage. Like, I've been on the receiving end of this curse, and it is brutal. Chukabog, doesn't matter. Refurb, alright, we'll deal them 1 damage. What's the lowest impact spell? They tapped out a green here, which makes it feel like they probably do not have a Weather the Storm. So I kind of feel like I can get rid of this Duress. Maybe that's not right, but everything else seems kind of decent. If I attack here, they double block and then sack the Refurb to like a Fanatical, and then it gets eaten. It's not great. I think I'd rather wait a turn, play both Scorpions first, and then we can attack with everything next turn. And then if they do that same trick, at least we're getting in for 4 other damage. And if they don't want to waste their mana here, they're going to have to just sack it on their own, which is also okay. Or sack a land. Oh, Galvanic Blast, fair enough. Also fine. They pass the turn. Jagged Barons. So now if they have like another blast, block, that's pretty fine. They're still taking a bunch. Yeah, I think we'll just attack here. And then I can play Hopeless Nightmare and Reckoner Raid again. Okay, double block. They might go for that sacrifice play now. Indeed. Look at me calling it almost. Deal them 2, unless they have something else here. Breath Weapon. Oh, Toxin. Well, that's enough. I guess gaining 4 or 5 if they want to crack the clue is not the end of the world. It's not as bad as it could be. Another offering, sure. Take 2, but gain 5. Hopeless Nightmare, Reckoner Raid. And I meant to play the Barons, but I guess this way we are insulated from the from a refurb or something. Hello there. What were the matchups? We already played against Jund and we beat them. We played against, what else did we play against? Mono Blue Terror, and they got us. And something else. Yeah, Terror. Something else. Yeah, they got a Krark. Naya Gates, yep. Yeah, Naya Gates is kind of just made to beat us. We didn't get a game off of them, though. Impossible matchup. Yeah, when you're playing a damage-based deck, definitely a really tough one to deal with. All right, they could just deal us a whole bunch of damage. Killing the Scorpions puts them to 8. We're kind of close. We ping them for 1, 2. They go to 6. Tyrant's Choice down to 2. Swing for 6. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Possible that they could kill us with 2 Infiltrators next turn. It seems a little tough, but I think we'll still just attack. Yeah, they'll block 1. So we'll deal them 1 and then ping for 2 more. No, they're going to sack the card. Sure. All right, so they're going to take 4 to 7. Jagged Barons, Tyrant's Choice. They go down to 2, and then hopefully they don't have any life gain. And then I could scry with the Hopeless Nightmare in the upkeep. If I find a Bump of the Night, that would win. They can't play a Chrysalis now. If we would play Chrysalis under Curse, it would be very funny. I agree. It would be pretty funny. I don't expect that, but I would take it. Be a nice way to win for sure. There's a Wellspring. If 13 damage on us right now, 15 now with the landscape. So definitely dead in 2 turns. So I gotta make something happen here. I mean, I guess I have the Reckoner Raid to block, assuming they don't have any removal spell at all. Galvanic Blast. They didn't even have Metalcraft, just 2 damage. Oh, Weather. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep, that's annoying. Well, I still think we scry, but now we're not really scrying for the win here, but maybe like a Chump Blocker, a Village Rites, I guess, since we're going to have to probably chump with this would be fine. Swamp's a no. Scorpion, I could play. Block. Yeah, I got to jump with something and might as well have it be something that gains us and drains, and then just hope that we draw better cards here. Block. If they just have like another Toxin, we're just going to lose no matter what. We're already in a pretty rough spot. We go to 8. I guess Village Rites, if they have nothing, we can attack for 2, Village Rites into Bump plus Tyrant's Choice. Jagged Barons is not gonna do it. I'm not technically dead yet, but I have to chump, and that takes away the possibility of doing a Village Rites, and I think I need to hit 2 cards to be able to deal 8 damage, so I don't think this one's gonna work. Oh, now they play the Chrysalis. Well, that's just rude. It's funny, they're doing that to grow this Infiltrator, but it's gonna trigger this 3 times. So this Infiltrator's not actually gonna kill us anyway, unless they have something else. Now they're at 5. I don't think we have anything that can deal 5 damage. We have a 4. If they play another creature, I could get that Tyrant's Choice. Crypt Incursion? Wow, why not? Well, we are not going to be able to get out of that, so we're gonna just take it, unfortunately. Everyone hates fun. I agree. Why won't they just die and have fun while doing it? That would be my preference. All right, well, we're on to match 5 here, and on the play, we got some creatures. We got a Village Rites. It's reasonable enough. Opponent mulligans to 5. What avatar card here? Callous Inspector. The new 1/1 for a black. Menace. When it dies, you take a damage, but you make a clue. So trying that alongside some Village Rites. An aggressive creature can restock our hand, and I was low-key expecting it in Gardens, rather. The Inspector in Gardens? Why would you want it there? Attack for 2 here, and I think we'll just play Scorpion and hold up a draw 2. Brainstorm. I think I might want to draw 2. Yeah, just sack the Scorpion while they're tapped out here. Something to sack, steals emblems, and redraw after. Yeah, it seems kind of weak to me. I mean, yeah, it does replace itself, but it doesn't seem like the type of card you'd want in there, personally. Oh, we're against Izzet. Well, see if they want to kill this before it attacks. Ping for 2, and Fear of Lost Teeth. They could play a Breath Weapon, so they might Spell Stutter. Oh, okay, sure. Fair enough. Can Fear of Lost Teeth, and then just Village Rites that away, I guess, so that it doesn't Ninja, in case that's a concern. I mean, Guest's playable. Don't see why this can't be. I mean, it might be playable, but Ghast is removal and ramp, and the Inspector just kind of replaces itself, which is fine, but just not the best thing ever. But Ghast doesn't drop. That is true, but it gives you utility that can be really strong. They could just have another spell stutter if I go for a lookout. So I think maybe I just cast like a Sovereign's Bite, and I'm fine if they just counterspell it. All right, we'll pass here. Flash out a spell stutter. No, cast another fire. Okay. Drawing cards is the best utility. I mean, yes and no. If it drew 2 cards, I would be saying, of course. But all it does is replace itself. It doesn't like draw you additional cards. So it's, kind of just playing a cantrip without an additional scry or ponder or anything, which is just... doesn't seem the best to me. Let's see. I can play a 1-drop, and if they spell stutter it, then I can just like Soul Reap and Tyrant's Choice put into 1. That seems pretty good. If they don't, that's yeah, we'll just cast this one too and then pass. But it's food for other sack spells. Yeah, that's true. I feel like they've already got plenty of those though, and I just don't think that Inspector's better than what they already have. That's all. All right, deal them a damage here, and so we have 7 damage in hand. If they can, if they tap out for something here. Tap out for a creature, I guess. We'll try to attack them with the lookout for 2. That works. And I'm just going to pass. There's a spell stutter. Wish Soul Reap was an instant. But if they ninja here, it's not the end of the world. Like, they get back their spell stutter. That's kind of fine. It's a Soul Reap target. Without the spell stutter on the field or another fairy, they're not going to be able to counter it with that. Well, an instant the spell would be much more played. Yes, that is very true. There's the Inspector. Well, we're going to attack. This gets to attack, so that puts Tyrant's Choice at lethal. They do have 3 mana, so I can bait with the Inspector. Oh, okay, they're just going to block here. I think we're going to be okay then. So Tyrant's Choice, I don't really know what they could have to counter this unless they're playing main deck Envelop. Otherwise, it's just going to win. But if they do have something, I can still just Soul Reap this and play an Inspector. They're reading it over, I assume. So Torture, they take 4, and we win the first one. Fair elections time, exactly. So they're fairies, but since it's Izzet, I don't think Suffocating Fumes is as good as like against Mono Blue. Snuff Out's still really good though. Trespasser's Curse, I mean, they're a creature deck and they keep rebuying their creatures. That seems okay. Everything else is fine. Duress I don't mind. Suffocating Fumes I don't mind, but I don't know if we need those for sure. Sovereign's Bite. I guess Fumes could still be decent. We also have the Fear of Lost Teeth, which can pick their guys off. Nightmarker Lookout was really good there. Got in for so many attacks. Don't think Inspector's doing much here, though. Yeah, I mean, it attacks a bunch. They didn't have blockers for forever. It gets around a single ninja or fairy. Then we can Village Rites it later. I think it's fine. I think I might just cut one of these for the more expensive creature. Or more expensive spell, rather. Yeah, this one's not the best, but we'll give it a try. Start with a Fairy Seer. Not even party subtype for Malakir. Yeah, that is unfortunate. I've been trying to make that work for a while, as I know a lot of other people have been too. Another Inspector. Yeah, I'll probably just get down an Inspector first. They start with like a Preordain. Try to find a Ninja, I guess, maybe? Oh, Cyclolorian, sure. That makes sense. No Ninja. Oh, nice. All right. And no Spell Stutter. There's a Village Rites. I think I'm probably just playing another Inspector, pinging them for 1. Brainstorm. Snow-Covered Island. All right, let's see what they got. Just the damage. Swing for 2. Jagged Barrens. They almost assuredly have Spell Stutter, if not just a regular counter, so I'm not going to cast anything here. We're just going to leave up our draw 2s, and they're going to cast in the fire. Yeah, look at this value. Draw 4 in response. Make 2 clues. Ooh, we even get the Snuff Out to cast on their Fairy Seer if I want it. Probably, yeah. No Ninja would be nice. That's pretty sick. I think combination of sack spells with Inspector and Guildsworn Prowler might enable something. Yeah, that's true. I like Guildsworn a lot, and Inspector does fit a similar role. I think we just double Trespasser's Curse here. Their deck revolves around creatures. They can't spell stutter it, so they have to like hard cast or hard counterspell, and if not, then we just get like they're just gonna start taking 2 damage every time they play a creature. Seems pretty good to us. Or maybe they counter this one since they know that'll be devastating. Spell stutter in response, sure. If he knows this, he's stream sniping. Yeah, that would be interesting. I think even if they're stream sniping, a null probably isn't the best card to bring in. We have 2 curses and 4 Reckoner Raids, and that's about it. But all right, 2 curses down. So every time they ninja or play a creature or anything. Is this Monarch? Okay. They get pinged for 2. Monarch's good. Let's see. I could just... How much damage do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I'd probably just play these 2 and bump in the night. I could Village Rites while they're tapped out, but I kind of want the creatures to threaten Monarch, to threaten a double block here, because actually the Crimson Fleet Commodore is the creature that kind of beats this Trespasser's Curse. They don't have to play that many creatures because it's just 5 power. I could take 6 here and then attack with our guys, but I think I'd rather just try to trade for the Crimson Fleet, and then they bolt one of them. Then I Village Rights. Maybe it's not amazing, but then they have to spend their resources like killing our creatures, which are dealing them damage. They go to 5. If we can just draw some spells, some Bump in the Nights and stuff, maybe we can get there. But Crimson's definitely not what I wanted to see, though. Electrickery. Yeah, we're gonna Village Rights the Fear. Think we still deal this a damage, because then it'll die. Unless they have another Electrickery. They have a Dispel. They do have another one. Or just a bolt, sure. Okay, well, they go to 6, we go to 11. Alright, this is the turn. Bump of the night. I have another bump in the graveyard, but I can't flash it back, so we crack a clue, get another bump. That would do it. Swamp. Lets me draw again, and it lets me bump next turn, so that's not bad. I guess maybe I... No, it's probably... Oh, well, let's see if they have a, what would it be? A Spell Pierce. Otherwise, they get double bumped in the night. We bumping. It's pretty sick, actually drawing what we wanted to draw. Hey, all right. Got a, I got a 2-3 with the deck. Nothing phenomenal, but not bad either. I mean, this is a deck that's not played super often, and so I had to go a little bit, in the archives to find a deck list, and then I modified it a little bit with the new Craven Inspector. So by no means is this anywhere near an optimal list. Obviously, I don't think this is a tier 1 deck, even if it was, but I think this can be a decent deck. It's kind of fun to play. Inspector feels decent here. It's not the best thing ever, but the clue tokens were obviously very relevant. Having the additional card draw later while being able to attack early was pretty nice. And everything else felt pretty solid, I think. So, yeah. Trespasser's Curse is one that I actually had in the main deck originally, and I actually cut for the Inspectors. Some matchups, it's just not very good, but there are some matchups where it's just really, really strong. So, I'm a big fan. I got second in Kelly tournament with Blackburn 2 years ago. Nice. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's a deck that I wish was... a little more popular. It doesn't need to be super meta or anything, but I wouldn't mind having it be a tier 3 deck that shows up every so often. Lost to Kelly in the finals. Sounds like it was rigged if he won his own tournament. I mean, how's that fair? But yeah, so this deck's kind of cool. Inspector, I'm not necessarily like, oh, it's so good. Like the Abandoned Attachments, which we tried earlier in Dimir Spirits, was definitely good enough that I think it just definitely should be in that deck. It's really strong. This Inspector here, I don't necessarily think it makes the deck incredible or like is severely necessary. It's so good, but it still seems solid enough that I feel like it could see some more play. But in any case, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.